told me someday I will buy galley with good oars, sail to distant shores, stand up on the prow. No.
Alright, well, enough of that. None of them are here anyways. It's just me again. But hey. So, alright. Not gaming tonight, but been watching some Ghost in the Shell. Figure I'd talk about that, and who knows? Maybe Swordsman will show up and talk as well, or if any of you are Ghost in the Shell fans and want to come on and talk with me, then show up in the Discord and I'll pull you in. So, yeah. So, basically, I've been watching the new Ghost in the Shell 2047 and am utterly disappointed. So, but how are you all doing? Hey, yay, cool. Hey, Dora. Hey, Micro. Good. All right. Well, you ever watch Ghost in the Shell, Dora? You just show up because it's a Four Swordsman stream. The delay is going to be killer, especially when there's only one other person in the chat. Gotta get more people to show up. Streaming from my computer tonight, so shouldn't have as much internet issues. Ah, nice. Oh, well, those are two good ones to start with. That's a double. Yeah. A lot of good sci-fi right off the bat. Wasn't huge into Akira, but that was definitely a big one growing up. Looks like people were popping in, maybe. No? Oh well. So, did you ever watch the TV show Standalone Complex? Yeah. So the first two seasons are really good. I like them. The first one more than the second one. The recuts are decent. I mean, they take 26 episodes and cut it down to 3 hours. So, it obviously gets all of the extra character building and stuff out of there, unfortunately, but they do a good job of condensing the show. Solid State Society was a really cool kind of continuation of the show. So it takes place 2 years after the second movie. Did a good job of still catching everything in a feature-length film. So I think it's only about an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes, something like that. And then Netflix went and released 2 years ago what would be a third season to standalone complex, and called Standalone Complex 2045, and it's bad. It's bad on all marks. Don't watch it, Dora. Yeah. Yeah, they do movie recuts of all the seasons, which is interesting. Um, but so the this one on Netflix, man, it's music is not done by the same people. Yeah. The animation is bad, and I say that as a person that I don't mind like 3D, even rough 3D from the 90s. Um as long as it's done well, right? Like you can have poor animation that is done well, and but it's also not the 90s. There's no reason for it to look the way that it does. um it, it made me think of a cross of the TV show Code Lyoko, if you remember that, and the Dragon Ball Z Budokai games that were on the PS2. Uh, the second season, they did a major graphics improvement, and so it's still the same style, but they added extra detail. Things aren't so plasticky and low res. So it is the second season is a lot better on the graphics department, but it's still in a style that I wasn't a fan with. Oh yeah, Yoko Kano, his music is terrific. Also, uh, God, I think his name is Kenji Kawai. I might be getting that wrong. Who did the music for the original movies, both the first and second movie? Also, just terrific. The music in Arise, I wasn't a huge fan of, but I mean, still fit the series really well. The music in this new series is, it's just bad. It's like electronic pop. I mean, it might be fine. Yes, Zebulon. The follow on series, or the second series of Dragon Ball is known as Dragon Ball Z, not Dragon Ball Z. It is Dragon Ball Z. Uh, but yeah, it's just a real weird choice to begin with. Music direction wise, they also like the opening and closing are bad choices, but then just even the music and sound direction through the entire show is really weird. There's a lot of sound effects and stuff like that to like it's Inception or something, trying to like add tension and whatnot. It's oh, it's bad. Uh, and the plot is awful as well. The characters, like, what I don't get is why they decided to make it a standalone complex season. They could have easily made it a its own series like they did with Arise, and it wouldn't have gotten as much flack. But instead, they went with this established property of Ghost in the Shell, and then they didn't even want to follow all the character development that happens in it. It's terrible. Oh, Zeb, I will tell you, since you weren't here earlier, or Dora, if you missed it, if anybody wants to join me and come and talk here, all you got to do is hit me on the Four Swordsmen Discord, and I will pull you in, since I am chatting by myself. Though, you never know, we might have a surprise appearance by any of the swordsmen. It happens sometimes. So, yeah. Zeb, you watch a lot of Ghost in the Shell? Really should get something more interesting to pull it up on screen. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, no, I was recently watching the new one that's on Netflix, and was not a fan of it. Big fan of the other ones though. So just kind of ranting a bit and talking through things. Of course, I'm on here all by myself, so don't have anybody to bounce conversation off of. But yeah. Oh, hey, a little wolf appeared. Can I hear a little wolf? I can't. I don't know if you guys can. Hold on, little wolf. Hey, little wolf, can you hear me? I still can't hear you. Hold on. Huh? That's that right?
Tried leaving and coming back.
There we go. Now I can hear you. That's what I needed.
Oh, okay.
Good. Now they should be able to hear you as well. How's it going, little wolf?
Not bad. I was playing cards in the bunker, and then Microraptor was saying, "Why aren't you on with Mute Donkey?" I was like, "I didn't know he was on."
yeah. I've decided that I'm just gonna randomly show up on these things because it seems to pull people in faster than trying to set up actually like scheduling them in advance.
Yeah.
So, but figured I'd come on and rant a little bit about the Ghost in the Shell stuff. But yeah, did you ever watch the anime Ghost in the Shell?
A long time ago.
Nope, I turned you down way too much.
I'm thinking around high school was the last time I watched it.
Okay. So you probably saw Standalone Complex when it was on TV then.
Probably.
Because that was well, you're a little bit older than me. Maybe that was the original movie. I don't. No, I don't know. That seems
it's
too
been so long.
too long.
I can't really remember it.
Yeah, the TV series came out in like 2003, I think, and the movie came out in 95. And I think 95's too far back for high school for you, but
yeah, around then I was like middle school. Let's see, 95, I would have been 13, so
yeah,
about 7th, 8th grade.
Okay. So yeah, so
My dad
probably
held me back a year, so
right.
we went from going into the Florida school system into the Wisconsin school system. And apparently the Wisconsinites were smarter than the Floridians. Big surprise.
Nope, not at all.
Yeah. Like I said before, my dad was a substitute teacher, and he would have like a bunch of workbooks, and he had me do like on top of my other schoolwork, he would have me.
Oh. All right. Well, lost a little there for a second. Well, good night, Dora.
I
Nope.
was doing work that fifth graders couldn't do. Sorry, I had a call trying to come in.
No, it's fine. You just cut off. I was saying good night to Dora. Dora said she had to go to bed.
Night, Dora.
But yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Yeah. So the TV series, I don't know how well you remember it if you haven't rewatched it since it originally aired. But so that TV show, and I'm gonna repeat some stuff. So I don't think, unless Micro's still in the chat, I don't think anybody else was around, so it's not that big of a deal. But if anybody re-listens to these, I'm sorry I'm repeating things. But yeah, so the TV series aired in the early 2000s. The first series was the Laughing Man case, and the second series was the Individual 11, and then they did a movie which actually is quite obscure. Like, it took me a while to find out that they did a movie called The Solid State Society. But it's really good. It's a good continuation of the series. It picks up a lot of the character beats that were kind of left off. Kind of get to see the characters have grown a little bit more. What's happened? It takes place another 2 years later. So Laughing Man's 2030, Individual 11's 2032, and Individual 11 is 2034. So you have that.
I like about different anime is how they can go from being a TV series and then do like a split off movie, and it still actually kind of fits into everything they're doing, but then you have like American TV shows where they try making a movie and it all of a sudden just kills the show.
Yeah, well, so Ghost in the Shell's weird because almost every iteration of it is completely different, right? So it was originally a manga, and the manga is very different than any of the other productions. The Major has a very different attitude. You still have a lot of that cyberpunk and sci-fi philosophy and different stuff going on in the series, but it is a very different take on the series. You still have the essence of all the characters, but their attitudes and the way they act are very different. Then you had the 1995 movie, which was really influenced by Blade Runner and a bunch of sci-fi that came before it. I mean, if you ever watch it, you instantly get all those kind of vibes off of it. And it honestly, like you can watch it and see where it influenced The Matrix, the newest Westworld series, and a bunch of sci-fi and cyberpunk stuff that came after it as well. It is a piece of that sci-fi cyberpunk history now. But it had a very different take. So where the Major was very lighthearted and it was more fun and stuff, in the manga, the anime was more dark and serious and whatnot, but it worked. It worked really well. The animation style was amazing. I mean, this is back in the days where they hand drew everything, and the music direction for it is terrific. It came out with a sequel in the mid 2000s, I think. I think the sequel either came out right before the TV series or like I think it was in between when the second season ended and before Solid State Society came out. But I don't remember. The second movie didn't do as well. It's not as good. It has some problems, but it's not bad. It's awesome. Music's done by the same person who did the movie, and art style is similar, but it has changed a bit. They've got some 3D elements in it. Then they did the TV series, and it was a different take again. So character-wise, the characters fall somewhere in between the manga side and the movie side. So it's not as dark and serious, but it's not as lighthearted. You have more time to explore the characters and for those growth. So you get a lot more character development out of almost all the characters. I think Boma is the only one that kind of gets the short end of the stick. Poor dude. And music is done by some really good artists, and the art style is really good for the time. It's typical of the early 2000s anime art, but it's done well. Then we had Arise, and Arise gets debated on whether people like it or not, but I think it did well, and that's kind of a new take, and it's different. And then you had Netflix's 2045, and it wants to be a sequel to the standalone Complex TV series, and it fails so horribly. Like, it would have been bad, even had it been its own iteration of Ghost in the Shell, but it was just made so much worse by trying to make it a part of standalone Complex.
It's almost like a lot of the new movies that they're trying to do sequels for nowadays, that it's been like 20 years since the last one. From what I hear, Pauly Shore wants to do a part 2 of Biodome.
Oh God!
They're on Mars.
Of course.
And somehow they're gonna do a Encino Man 2. I mean, these are rumors I'm hearing, but
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's not a soft reboot though. It's a straight up continuation. And the other ones, in a standard sense, you would call them reboots. I call them separate iterations, just separate continuities or whatever, because I mean, other than kind of Arise, they didn't feel like they were trying to reboot the series. They were just saying, this property's good, but instead of trying to, like, the original movie is amazing. If you haven't seen it, you need to show up on the Four Swordsmen Discord, and I will show it. It is one of my favorite movies. I missed what you said there, Zeb. You'll have to repost it. But yeah, the original movie was great. So instead of trying to take that and turn it into a TV series and work with the characters already there, I think they were smart by going, okay, we're going to take the elements of this property and we're going to take the characters and we're going to take everything that people like about it, and but we're not going to say that it's attached to that. We're not going to say that it's the same world or whatever. We're going to say that this is separate or whatever, and make it its own thing. And because it got to stand kind of like it had the recognition that it was Ghost in the Shell, but it got to also be judged on its own a bit, and I think that's helped it more. Yeah, Star Wars is all over the place. There's some good stuff and there's some bad stuff. Might have to talk about some of that a little bit later as well. You watching Obi-Wan, Zeb? I don't know. When he answers that, we'll get back to him. But yeah. So, but this new series that's on Netflix calls itself Standalone Complex 2045. So it's making is sure that it's connected to the other three, and it makes sure to remind you that it's connected to the other three, but it also throughout the show doesn't seem to know what to do with that connection. Yeah, no, I'm with you there. The last three movies I was really disappointed in. But I think they're too.
I've seen any of them that Disney has made, really.
Except
for, like Mandalorian. But...
You didn't see 7, 8, 9?
Might have seen 7 a while back, but
with Rey.
A while ago. Yeah. And
yeah.
Them killing Han.
Yep.
I think that was the last one I saw.
Okay. Well, just leave it there then.
Okay.
There were that's another rant for another day. Yeah, Zeb's got it right. If you didn't see it, don't bother with it.
Okay.
So, but Mandalorian has been fun. Boba Fett was okay. They seemed to get bored with Boba after the 4th episode, which was weird, but otherwise it was good. Obi-Wan, I'm still waiting to see how that's going to turn out. Oh, hey Chris, how you doing? Yeah. Chris, you ever watch any anime? You watch Ghost in the Shell? Any of the different seasons? Okay. Well, I will try and drive conversation while you can't talk, but feel free to chime in and cut me off whenever you need to, or whenever you're able to. So, yeah. So we kind of keep taking off on tangents and stuff like that. This is a standard procedure for us. But no anime. Okay. So I was just did this spur of the moment because I've been watching the new Ghost in the Shell anime that's on Netflix. It's a continuation from a long-running series and a long time franchise that's huge when it comes to sci-fi and cyberpunk genre type stuff. So it's big not just in anime but also in kind of that cyberpunk world. And I mean, if you ever did watch it, you could see where other series shows definitely have pulled imagery and kind of ideas from it, and even where it has pulled ideas and imagery from kind of the ones that came before it. So it's really cool. And so they decided to refresh the series or continue the series, or I don't know how you want to look at it, but with a Netflix season. And it was done poorly. They used a music direction that does not fit the series, does not fit the music direction that it had before. And they had some really good artists that worked on it in the past. Kind of like, I'd call it like Japanese synth. It might have a different name for the genre, but it kind of that idea of a mix of like traditional Japanese sound with some more electronica. And this new one's just got, it's still kind of got that electronica feel, but it's got more of a poppy vibe to it. I don't know, the songs don't fit, they don't work. And then the sound design, even throughout the entire show, is really like mid 2010s, Interception, stuff like that. The plot seems like they ran an AI through Twitter or Reddit of what was popular to come up with the plot, because it's bad. So it's a continuation. So it goes in the shell as a franchise. I've explained this a couple times. Kind of gets different iterations or continuities, whatever reboots you want to call it. And so the standalone complex is one of those. So in the first series, it's called The Laughing Man. It's about a guy that yeah, I mean, it very much might have been Chris. Yeah. So the first season, it was great. Terrific stuff. It's cyberpunk, so it's all about kind of conspiracy and misinformation and this old case getting drudged up and blackmail and a bunch of stuff going on or whatever, and the bad guy gets dubbed the Laughing Man, and so they kind of explore there's certain themes of Salinger and Catcher in the Rye, and he had a book called The Laughing Man and some other stories, and so there's a few different of his stories that got kind of weaved into the story, but it's not really pushed against you, that they even bring it up as kind of like, oh yeah, the Salinger link and kind of like brush it off. It's done really well. In this new series, they hit you with 1984, and then they continue to beat you over the head with it. It is just I think they saw what worked in the first series and didn't understand why it worked, and we're trying to recreate that without understanding it. Is really what it feels like. But got a mute partner. But yeah, so that was was part of the issue. The characters, God. So they redesigned the Major, which I don't know why. So the Majors had different tweaks and different iterations, but Standalone Complex has always kind of shown the Major in a certain body type. They decide to give her something closer to the Arise model, which is just a really weird choice. They don't seem to mention why she would have changed her body. The Major is a full body prosthetic. So it's in a cyberpunk world where most people have some level of cyberization of their body, but full body prosthetics aren't uncommon either, and so Major is one of them that has nothing original left. And there's for different iterations of her, there's different reasons for it. But yeah, so she's got a different body for some reason. She does things several times to the show that make no sense to her established character and how we come to expect her to act. She definitely has a certain philosophy, whether you agree with it or not, that is constant throughout the show. But for some reason in this new TV show, it kind of, sometimes she acts like that, sometimes she doesn't. The characters are all part of the closest, like they're called a special police force, but really it's kind of like a Homeland Security, but it's called Section 9, and so you have the Major or Major Kusanagi is kind of the main character. And like I said, got some problems with her. Then you got Bato. Most of the characters are prior military or have some sort of backing like that. So the Major has military background. I forget exactly what she was. Her main thing is that she's super wizard class hacker, as it is said in the show. And she's kind of the leader and all around kind of abled person. Then you have Bato the Ranger. He used to be a ranger, obviously. So he's got that kind of military experience, really good at guerrilla warfare, hand-to-hand fighting, kind of the sneaky stuff. He's normally the strength or the first one in, if it isn't the Major. His character is, for the most part, done the closest, I think, to the rest of the series. Then you got Togusa was probably the next biggest character. So he starts out, he was not military, he was police force, like a detective. But through the series in the past, like the seasons that were done right, you see him kind of as the rookie on the team, kind of trying to find his place, to coming as and being basically part of the lead of the team, through some different story stuff that's going on, and him having character growth. Oh, Little Wolf?
Kind of here.
Oh, okay.
Looking at pictures of it, is it weird that I get kind of a Aeon Flux vibe from it too?
I'm gonna say no. I never got Aeon like so um the art style from Aeon Flux, from what I recall, like the actual like anime, was really weird.
Yeah,
So
it
I
was
wouldn't
like a
say I
weird
get.
blend of like American and Japanese anime.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I get that style of um look from it or whatever. But are you looking at which series are you looking at?
I don't know. I
Okay.
just looked up Ghost in a Shell, looked up pictures of the Major, and just kind of looking at some of the outfits. It was like, oh, that is almost a
Okay, like
Eon.
outfit wise and stuff like that. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I can kind of see where you're getting at. So look up the art while you're doing that. Go ahead and try and look up the art for 2045 specifically.
Uh,
Resident Elvis. Um I
it's an
don't
interesting
know.
concept that Chris kind of came up with when I was doing a show with my pup. We were talking about one of the Resident Evil movies, and next thing you know, Chris came up with the whole Resident Elvis kind of background.
Oh,
It was
okay.
interesting.
And what is Resident Elvis then? Because I'm not
Uh,
familiar with this.
it's like zombie Elvis trying to find like a peanut butter and banana sandwich,
Oh,
if I
oh, oh.
recall right.
Okay. Um, Well, if you were gonna add Resident Elvis into the Ghost in the Shell universe, he'd probably be either partially or fully cybernetic, um, uh, dead but brought back to life, which the show has kind of tackled some of that kind of issues. So that definitely could be a thing. Um, I would say that they would be able to take on Resident Elvis, but it would be it would be an interesting go. Um,
Plus,
they're
when I
all
think of
Japanese, so they probably
Resident
wouldn't.
Elvis, it would be like the weird thing that the one guy turned into in Slither at the end of it. Michael Rooker's character
Yeah,
turns into that big blob of amalgamation.
yeah. I I would I would say that they're all Japanese, so they probably wouldn't recognize him as the king, and unfortunately would probably shoot him, or they would hack his cyber brain. But yeah, so I was trying to fill time, different stuff, so I was just going over different characters. Um, but I don't know if you've got something else to fill in. Wolf, just like I said, cut me off whenever. one One Punch Man tops Resident Elvis. Oh, okay. Um,
Only
yeah.
seen
So
bits and pieces of One Punch Man. That was a interesting anime.
yeah. It wasn't one that I got big into, but I got the appeal, definitely. It's kind of interesting.
More
Um,
into the My Hero Academia or Inuyasha or Assassination Classroom.
uh, I really enjoyed Assassination Classroom. I still need to pick it up so I can watch like the last 4 episodes or something like that. and the movie. I stopped watching it because of stuff going on at the time when it was being released. Right at the end of it, which kind of makes me mad. But like I said, kind of due to stuff that was going on at the time, I didn't. Yeah, I fell out of watching it, and then by the time that I thought about watching it again, I still wasn't kind of in the mood to watch it or whatever. So it is one of those that I've got to get back and finish off. My Hero was decent. I feel if it's still going, it's probably going to be one of those that lasts forever, though. So I don't know if it's one of those that I'll keep watching.
See the 5th season of it. I have seasons 1 through 4 and both the movies.
Okay,
I
I've seen
have season 5 yet on Google Play.
I've seen one of the movies, and I think I've seen season 4. Is season 4 the one with the thief that's like...
Yeah, and he has that little redheaded helper.
Yeah, okay. So I don't think I saw the end of that season. I think I saw halfway through season 4 then. And that was kind of a similar situation where started with it, and
one of my favorite storylines they did was them going to that weird summer camp or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
They get attacked, and that little boy just doesn't like superheroes, and he just hits them right in the...
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, little boy.
Wolf is a bit low. Here, let me see if I can
my
boost.
headphones, too.
No, it's probably me, because I had to put you down a little bit on my end so you weren't too loud for me, so probably need to just boost you.
Let me switch over to my other headphones too. You'll have a better mic.
Okay. I also boosted your volume a bit, so hopefully that's good, Zeb. If he's still low or if he becomes too loud, let me know. Because I still have some room to play with it. Yeah. I never got into Inuyasha, but I've got a ton of anime that I watch. We recently did a rewatch through Cowboy Bebop and Trigun. Gonna do Outlaw Star here in probably another 3-4 weeks.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah, so I watch a lot of stuff from the late 90s, early 2000s, and then some more modern stuff as well. And some stuff that's older. I love the old Gundams.
Yeah, Tia is actually showing me the original Dragon Ball shows. We got through the first season of it, I think. First 13.
Okay. Yeah, so Dragon Balls is typically talked about in the sagas, not in the TV shows. Every 13 episodes will be a season, but sagas don't fit as nicely into that. So people generally just talk about it in the sagas. So or story arcs. So yeah. Dragon Ball is awesome. I have watched all of the original, all of Z. I actually never watched Kai, which was a abridged kind of redone version of Z, where they clean up a few of the art mistakes, though they make a few as well, which is funny. And I will answer your question in a second, Zeb. And they because they didn't have to worry about pacing. So the original Dragon Ball Z was coming out, the episodes were coming out. I think it was 2 weeks behind when the manga was releasing. Like they were basically being made in parallel. So anytime that, the manga wasn't covering enough, right, for an episode, because an episode might be, 2 or 3 mangas or whatever worth of content, they would have to do filler. And so Kai takes all that out. So if you're watching it through for the first time, and you don't care about the filler, Kai is a great way to watch it. Though some of the filler is good. I actually enjoy some of the filler. You'll get different opinions from different people, though. And you have GT.
It was just one of those ones that I remember being so popular, but it was just one. It was like, at the time when I was just hearing about it, it was like, oh, they already have so many seasons, and it's like at that time it was like, I can't sit through all of that, and then it's like, look at all the other things I've sat through many seasons of, like Home Improvement.
Nice. Yeah, no, it is one of the original, like, long running animes. I mean, there were ones before it, don't get me wrong. Gundam had been around for a long time by the time that Dragon Ball came out. And you have other ones that, kind of had that same model or whatever that they were building off of. But,
I've watched a little bit of Gundam, and that's another pretty fun one.
Yeah,
Gundam's
awesome.
It's kind of slow compared to some of the other animes out there, but it's like, it's one of those ones where it's a pot boiler one. It takes its time, and then once the action hits, it really hits. It's like, damn.
A bit. I mean, it also depends on which series you're watching. So Wing was a bit, because it's a bit shorter, a bit more fast-paced with the action. And it's, I enjoy Wing. You'll get people who don't, but the main series of them, which is like Mobile Suit Gundam and all the ones that branch off of that, are really terrific. And those are, I think, more of what you're talking about, where, like, something will happen and they'll kind of allude to something big about to happen. And it's not...
I'm trying to remember which one I had started watching. I think it was Z.
Gundam
like,
Z?
There was a community on a moon, and then like this other group stole a Gundam suit.
Gundam Seed?
And suit.
No, but was it called Gundam Seed, like SEED?
No.
No? Oh, okay, because that kind of sounds like Gundam Seed to me.
And like the kid was like the son of one of the inventors of that suit.
I thought that was Gundam
and he
Seed.
joins the rival faction.
I don't know.
Or it's like Golden Suit.
Or is it UC? Or something? I don't know. There's so many Gundams, man. Gundams, like, there are so many different Gundams. And I've watched a lot of them, but I haven't watched all of them. But it does sound familiar. It does sound like one I've watched, but I'm not sure
and, like,
which one.
The main character you follow is like upset because his parents gave him like a name that could be a girl's name too at the same time.
Yeah. I can't tell you which one that is. I don't know. Maybe the chat will figure it out. Zebulon's asking if I liked the live action Cowboy Bebop. No, because there isn't a live action Cowboy Bebop. I don't know what you're talking about, Zeb. That's my answer for that.
Oddly, I remember you enjoying the ones that I sat down and watched with you guys.
Enjoying what ones that you watched with us?
I watched a couple of those with you guys. I think it was like the third and fourth episode.
I was going to say, I think you watched the first 3 episodes with us, which weren't too bad. They
Well,
they
like I
only
said, at the time you liked it.
they were only slightly off, and then they then it just goes straight off the tracks and it, yeah, no, that there isn't a live action Cowboy Bebop because even though they made a live action show and decided to call it Cowboy Bebop, it's not Cowboy Bebop. So I didn't. That's
So
that's
it's
my
almost
reaction.
like it's only related by name almost.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean they took characters and they took like key aspects of those characters and then decided that that wasn't going to be true about that character. And
For me, that's almost like what they did with Return to Living Dead 4 and 5.
mhm.
And I refuse to consider those part of the Living Dead series. Because it's like, within the first opening moments of one of the movies, they kill a zombie by shooting it in the head. And it's like, that's not how it works in this iteration. What the
Yeah.
fuck?
Yeah, yeah.
And like, I turned the movie off like right after watching that. It's like, that isn't supposed to happen.
I'm sorry, you're wrong.
Well, and in the zombie information they have in that one, yeah. Or at
Yeah,
least
yeah.
in that movie series, it's like, they even made it a point in the first one to drive a pickaxe through one of the other one's head. And it just sat there and screamed. And
Right.
it's like, yeah, you don't kill them by shooting them in the head. You have to either melt their body with acid or burn them.
Yeah.
And those were the only, or you could also electrocute them so their brain shut off. But shooting one in the head and it dying, no.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know.
And it was almost like they took Asylum Studios graduates and had them make these movies, and it's like, oh my god, they're so terrible. I mean, I put Asylum movies above the acting.
Yeah.
And at
But-
least with Asylum, they know they're making crap movies.
Oh, yeah. I mean, some of those studios, like, they like. So we watched the other night, Cannibal the Musical, and it is a
Ooh.
trauma film. And if you've
Love
watched,
Trauma. Well, some.
right, I was gonna say, if you watch Trauma, you know what you're getting into with Trauma, right? Like they're all like, you know, it's practical effects. They're great, but
Gore
they're like,
for gore's sake type
yeah,
thing.
but there's gore for gore's sake. You know, it's done cheap. You know, they're done good enough. You know, they're not looking for great. You know, you're gonna, you know, when the guy's arm gets ripped off, you're gonna be able to tell that it's a fake arm. Nobody cares,
I'm
right?
armed. Oh my god! Now I'm picturing their decapitation movie or whatever
Right.
it was. They go on like this weird hiking thing, and like this one guy has a guy's arm, and he's swinging it around. And he's like, "I'm armed."
I mean, there's
Oh
always
my
somebody who gets their arm ripped off in a trauma film.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that happens in every trauma film. Feel free to tell me I'm wrong in the comics.
And then, like, usually the first movie, like Toxic Avenger or Class of Nukem High, they're kind of serious horror movies, but then after that, they're just like, whatever.
Yeah. So I mean, like, sometimes, like, if the studio's in on it, right? The studio knows, like, hey, we're not a big budget film. We're not some big studio. We're not going to be able to make like something amazing, like, and we're in on the joke, right? We're going to take this serious, but we know that it's going to be campy, right? Because there's no other way we can do it. It can still be great. it's
That's how like the remake of Piranha did so good. They knew they were making a remake of a B movie, so
yeah.
might as well just have fun with it. Shoot.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and Starship Troopers though is like that's a movie that is good not just because it's like a B sci-fi film because of the level of animation or whatever that it's in it, but like that one actually is more of political commentary and stuff like that. And so like that's one of those ones where you show up the first time to watch it and see the bugs get splattered and it being kind of a B sci-fi film or whatever. And then when you rewatch it over and over again, you pick up more on all of the other stuff that's going on and kind of what they're
Put
actually
your
talking
hand
about.
on that wall. Excuse me?
Medic!
The enemy cannot push a button if you disable its hand.
Um,
Oh, so many good lines in that movie.
would you like to know more?
It's
Would you
afraid.
like to know more?
Oh man,
but
Neil Patrick
yeah.
Harris.
But yeah, that movie's great. Oh man,
Well, even then, I wouldn't consider that a B film at all.
it gets its reputation as a B movie because it didn't do well when it initially released. Because like a lot of the political commentary and stuff kind of got missed as being political commentary and satire.
How could you miss it? They hit you in the head with a sledgehammer with it.
Well, that's kind of the thing is because it came off as they were kind of depicting, like a lot of people took it as oh, they were just depicting this as this is what this world, where the world has gone or whatever, and not as this is a commentary on this type of society or whatever. But so it kind of gets lumped into that kind of B movie category. But yeah, I would agree. It's not. It's and it's one of those, like I said, that didn't do well on release, but over the years as people have gone back and rewatched it again and again, and more people kind of realize what it is and come around to being like, oh, this movie's deeper than just like aliens killing, bug zapping and whatnot. But yeah, as you're going through Dragon Ball, let me know. I love the Dragon Ball series.
Okay.
So you'll definitely have to let me know how you like it, and if you guys are missing any of the Dragon Ball series, let me know because I have most of it. I don't have GT, and I need to finish getting the Super movies, but I think I have everything else somewhere. So if you don't have a certain version of something or whatever, just let me know.
Okay. But I think knowing Tia how it's one of their favorite ones, they'll probably have all of them.
Okay, good. Yeah, and I mean, it should be one that's fairly simple to come by most versions of this stuff. So it's one of those, like, I'm kind of on one of those shows where I'm kind of on the nerd level with, where I have, like, there are different iterations of some of the stuff, like some of the movies where, because the person who did, like, the music for the original English soundtrack used a lot of copyrighted music. and did not get proper rights for it, and they got in a bunch of trouble about it years later or whatever. And so now all the re-releases have just the Japanese music, which, oh yeah, no, Speed Racer is totally anime, 100%. That's not even a, like it is a Japanese animation. So that's not even anywhere in the gray zone, Zeb.
And
But
now I have that in my head. Go, Speed Racer, go.
But
Speed.
yeah,
Speed.
so when they re-released it, they did all the Japanese soundtrack, which is really good. And most will say is better, and I won't fight them on it. But some of the English soundtrack is straight pop music or rock music from that time era. That was just stolen. But some of it is actually kind of fun. Take on it. So I enjoy it. Yeah, but he got in a bunch of trouble because they found out, and it's surprising like how long afterwards or whatever. But because he did the music for it for years, and was apparently taking copyright music that they did not pay for.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And so now all the re-releases are solely the Japanese music. The funny thing is, like, if you ever really get into Dragon Ball, and you have the opportunity, either watch some of the, especially once you get to Z, watch some of it with either the subtitles on or the Japanese version of it, because you'll see in parts in the English where they're talking and stuff, it's just dead silence.
Yeah,
Like,
I've noticed that with some of the other ones, like especially with Inuyasha. If you turn on the English subtitles along with the English dub, yeah, you can definitely see.
Yeah, there are moments where, like, in the Japanese version, they're building suspense, there's silence, or there's just the music in the background, or whatever. And in the American version, they feel like, man, if there isn't dialogue or somebody screaming every like 5 seconds, kids are gonna get bored and nobody's gonna watch this. They have no faith in the American audience. Because there are times when nobody's lips are moving and you have somebody yelling something, or you know, it's supposed to be, you know, somebody just like screaming or whatever, and instead they're talking dialogue, but it's just their mouth open, and it's just like, what? Like, and it looks really odd, and anytime you see a scene where it looks really odd, it's because it was completely different in the, you know, like, obviously there's some dialogue changes because they don't want to reanimate the lip flaps for all the dialogue or whatever. So obviously when you're picking word choice and stuff going between 2 different languages, you're gonna have to state stuff slightly differently or whatever. Like, you know, obviously there's some of that, but there's a lot of, oh, there was no dialogue here at all or whatever, and it's always just kind of funny. Speed Racer was Zebulon's ship back in the day. I'm guessing that's what he was saying. That's awesome. Speed Racer was great. Yeah, no, I love a lot of anime. But yeah, Netflix. Netflix is really, I don't know. I don't. A lot of their live action stuff recently, I have not been a fan of. There's a few out there that I don't think are terrible. But a lot of them I have not been a fan of at all. And then even their like their animation side, not their live action, but just their animation side of doing anime, I haven't been too happy with. Yeah, no, I would agree, Zevon. There was definitely a time when you saw a Netflix original and you were like, oh, this is going to be high quality. And don't get me wrong, there's like I was just watching earlier before I started this a new anime that's on Netflix called Last Hope. And I think it's done really well. It's not I don't think it's going to be a great anime or one that I remember for years to come or anything like that, but perfectly decent anime. Pretty interesting plot and all that, art styles fairly good. They have some stuff that's 3D and some stuff that's 2D, but it's mixed well. And all that. But the most recent stuff, I've seen a trend in Netflix original stuff is, and this show doesn't do it every episode. The Ghost in the Shell one did it every episode, where instead of having an episode and having an ending to that episode, the episodes like build up to the big conflict, then end the episode, then you have the resolution like halfway into the next episode, and then you build up to the next conflict. And so you have like the first episode has it seems longer, whatever, because it's taking that extra time to build up to a midpoint and end. And then all the other episodes after that seem like they're halfway off of where they should be ending. So that, it makes it, oh, I have to binge because I'm ending in the middle of an episode. Damn it, I'm going to binge it anyways. Just give me a damn normal episode. That way, if I have to end it at the end of the episode, I have a conclusion and I'll come back to it. Don't hold me hostage. And I know we have complete. Oh, go ahead, Wolf.
I don't know. I was just unmuting for a moment, but to me, when I hear more about like Netflix original, it suddenly springs to mind like a sci-fi original.
Nowadays, it kind of is, but I mean, it's kind of the same deal, right? Like back in the 90s and early 2000s, when you said sci-fi original, now they were never as good as like the good Netflix originals, right? Like they didn't have the money behind it, but you knew what you were going to get, right? It was going to be a bit cheesy, maybe B-movie quality, but you were going to get something fun. And then at some point, the sci-fi original just totally lost any credibility. I have not watched Night Moon. I'll have to look that one up and see what that one's like. So. It doesn't look like it's on Netflix anymore. Do you know if it's showing anywhere specific, Zeb?
Watch it be on Australian Netflix.
I mean, it might be. It might be one of those things where it's just on.
Yeah, different country shows it, but another one doesn't.
Yeah. But it doesn't look like it's on my American Netflix.
They're saying Marvel production on Disney.
Oh, okay. So it's a Disney Plus one. I'll have to look it up on that then. I have not seen it. Marvel production. Oh, are you talking about Moon Knight? I have watched Moon Knight. You have used the wrong night and flipped the two words, which is why I was confused, and it took me a minute. But I have watched Moon Knight. It was really good. I was slightly disappointed. So Moon Knight is a really fun character. I don't know if you know anything about the comic version of the character, but he has one of his comic book storylines is done where through
It looks like a white version of Deadpool. I mean, not to.
So the Deadpool stuff connection. You also hear Batman a lot of times, but the Deadpool connection is actually not completely incorrect. Sometimes he does some fourth wall breaking, not as much as Deadpool. He's not that zany of a character, but yeah. So in one of his storylines, it is done through the entire thing where you don't know if the character is just batshit crazy and everything's in his head, or if he really is a superhero and he is going around and saving. And they played with it a little bit, but never so much that you would really fully buy into that's what was going on. And
that makes me think of the movie Super.
Okay, yeah.
Oh man.
And yeah, and I've seen this several times in TV shows from standard media where they don't trust the viewer, right?
Mm.
It kind of feels like they where with something like that, and
So like a lot of hand holding.
not so much. I mean it's hand holding, but in a way, in the sense of we're gonna make sure that you understand that you're showing up for a superhero movie, and this is a superhero movie. So when we play with the character might not knowing of him being a superhero, you still will know though, right? So like they don't let the viewer have that wait, what's really going on, moment. Along with the character. So there was a TV show, and God, I can't remember what it's called. But the character's in a car crash, and in one reality, his wife dies. In the other reality, his son dies. And every time he goes to sleep, he flips between the worlds. In the pilot episode, other than the scenes where he's obviously with his wife or his son, it is very confusing which world he's in. And he's trying to solve, he's a detective, and so he's got this case or whatever, and it kind of ties everything in or whatever. It's setting up. And so it's but he's doing the same case in both realities, but things are slightly different and stuff like that, and you don't know what reality is real. He doesn't know what reality is real. It's very interesting.
Was this from like 2012?
Might be around that time. Sounds about right.
Okay. Awake.
Yeah, that's it. So when the series actually came out, since you know what it is, you'll notice that he has a wristband on his arm. In one reality, I think it's red, and the other one it's green or whatever. So you always know where he's at. And there's other clues that they put out there. Now, it still does play where you don't know fully what's going on, but like the once they got like syndicated or whatever, once they got the first season. And sadly, it only lasted a season. But they didn't let you be as confused as that pilot let you be confused. You know, that pilot is worth like 2 or 3 watch throughs for you to fully figure out oh, okay, this is what's going on, or this is where he's at this moment. Okay. And for you to pick up on everything.
Or kind of like the first episode of Twilight Zone, Where Is Everybody?
Yeah.
He's like the only person running around, and like him, we have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, oh, good.
So what else do you have to talk about besides the Netflix?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, that was the main thing that I came to rant about, and then I was hoping some swordsmen would show up, and that would drive conversation. To be honest, but this has lasted almost an hour and a half, so I mean that's not too bad. I mean, there's been a lot of dead time.
Anytime you get to talk a bit about Starship Troopers, it's always a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, there has been some dead zones in there, and we didn't have as many people show up this week as I would have. But I did just kind of pick a random time. I was going to start it a little bit later or a little bit earlier. I thought there was going to be some other streams going on tonight that didn't seem to happen. Damn it, Zeb, just give up.
Yeah, I actually had fun making my last video. I mean, one of my editors is still being a pain in the butt and will say, oh, we're not going to convert this into the video. And so I'll break it up into chunks, and I'll get like the first part of it made into the video, and it'll convert just fine. I'll get the next part put into a video area where I want it, and it'll convert just fine. And then try and put them together, and it's like, we're not going to do that. It's like, what?
Yeah.
And so that's what I wound up having to do. I got like the first part made up, put it into a video format, then I got the main part of the video made into it, and then splice those two together with my other things. So I mean, it was annoying to have to do that, but I mean, shoot, it worked.
Yeah. Yeah. That's annoying. I gotta test.
Hey, Mr. Stock is here.
Ooh, hey Stock. We were ranting about animes and other tangents.
When
Yeah.
he says we, he means he. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It was mostly me. You were.
Well, I contributed
In,
to it. I
yeah.
didn't rant about it.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. But yeah, I got a test. Maybe I'll do it later this weekend or whatever. I might do another stream at some point, gaming and testing to see if I can't get my laptop to have a better connection.
Yeah.
I've got a way of testing that, though it is a laptop, so I mean, it just might not be able to run a smooth enough connection for streaming or whatever. It wasn't really bought for that purpose. So if not, that kind of sucks because then I can't stream any of my classic games anytime soon because it'll be a while before I build another computer. So I don't know. Look
Yeah,
out for all
definitely
those
have to watch
bunnies.
out the bunnies. Yeah. I was playing Mr. Hop's Manor Escape.
Oh, okay.
That's what my last video was on, and I had fun doing that.
Yeah, cool.
It's like, it might be an older game to some people, but it's like I know quite a few in our, like, mainly in the debunking community where they're not really into games as much as like me and you are, or some of the others, but might as well just have fun somehow.
Oh yeah. No, and I mean, for like us where we just kind of are BSing or whatever on our streams, I kind of like doing it while playing games, especially slower paced games, because it kind of just gives a distraction in the background while doing stuff. So I used to do a lot of streams while playing like Myst and stuff like that. Nice. Very nice, John. Yeah, I didn't get into PC gaming until the late 90s.
My first gaming thing was a Apple IIe computer, actually.
My first gaming was Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers for the NES. At least that's the earliest one that I can remember, and I was pretty young for that.
I think I was around 6 when that came out.
Yeah. And
at least in America. Hey, Skooma Cat's here.
Hey, Skooma. Yeah, and I mean, I grew up playing video games, board games, card games, and all that kind of stuff. I was laughing because when I was in college, they asked. I went to college for game development, and we had to write a paper on why we decided that career, and I was like, I don't know, it's just kind of what I've always been doing. I've played games my entire life. I've started programming when I was very young. It's just kind of what I've always been doing. And I don't have an aha moment. It was just kind of I'm just gonna keep doing this stuff, guys. And so like I was talking to the teacher, and they're like, okay, well, I mean, talk about when you switched from playing board games and card games to computer games. And I kind of just looked at him and I was like, what are you talking about? I didn't switch. I still do. I just added on.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you guys? We're nobodies. Don't worry about us, Skooma. Yeah. We're a wolf and a donkey. It's the Wolf and Donkey Show.
Not in a Mexican sense.
Oh. Rogue One. Nice.
What was
I
your
think
favorite board game then?
my favorite board game. Ooh. There's a lot of good board games. See, anytime somebody asks me my favorite of anything, I have trouble with it. I'm not good at like I feel like if I had kids, like I really wouldn't be able to have a favorite. Like I don't know, man. I love them all. It's you know, sometimes you want to play Seventh Wonders. Sometimes you want to be a jerk to your friends and so you play Monopoly. I don't know, like D&D is great. I've played a bunch of D&D. Not a board game though. But yeah, no, I don't know. Because I play like I said, I play a lot. It also like there are some games that you play with 2 people and some games that you need at least like 4 people to play with, and so I mean like there's some that I really enjoy, but you need a bigger stack of people, right? Red Dragon Inn is great. It is better the more people you have. It is not. So it's kind of Game of Life board game. Yeah, Game of Life is good. Yeah, I like that. But yeah, Skooma, you ever watch Ghost in the Shell? I keep bringing things back to that as people show up just to see who says yes and who doesn't. I didn't ask John, though. I don't think John's the type that would have watched Ghost in the Shell. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe John will tell me I'm a fool, and of course he's watched it. But I don't think he has. Yes? Oh, well, all right. See? Sometimes I'm wrong. So, I was ranting about the new Netflix for all right. Well, you know, as long as you're not too drunk, that's fine. It is the weekend, you know. If you don't have to work, you know, you're being responsible. You're not going to drive anywhere. You know, that's fine. Little Wolf is muted again, so I'm guessing his roommates are being noisy. Yeah. So I was ranting earlier about the new Netflix, Ghost in the Shell, 2045, because it is terrible. They want to call it part of the standalone complex, which makes it even worse. I haven't watched season 4, but I have watched all the other seasons. I think it's okay. I'm not as much on the hype train for Stranger Things as other people, but it's not that I think it's a bad show. I think it's a perfectly fine show. I just wasn't on the hype train as much as other people were for it. But I will at some point sit down and watch the new season.
That's one of the ones I still need to jump in and watch at some point.
Yeah. I think the show got better. Especially like season 3 I really enjoyed, I think. But that kind of retro 80s vibe that was like all the rage, like in the
like even American Horror Story did their own like that.
Everything.
Was it 1984?
Probably.
I think the season was.
Yeah, everything was that. just like, don't get me wrong, I love a lot of stuff from the 80s. There are tons of great movies from the 80s. There's good TV shows from the 80s, great cartoons from the 80s. There's a lot of good nostalgia from the 80s, but I don't think everything needs to be retro 80s. God, what was the one with Hasselhoff that was like a B movie that was supposed to be like 80s, like Kung Fury or something like that? That felt more like, even though it was the 80s, it actually felt more like a 90s production of like the 80s.
Hasselhoff Kung Fu movie. Don't think I've heard of that.
Yeah, I think it's called Kung Fury. I might be wrong, but it's got like Hitler riding a dinosaur and stuff like that. It was pure meme fuel. All right, Scoom. You go back to playing your stuff. Have fun. You heard sex noises? Micro, you get your hearing fixed. There were no sex noises. I don't know what you're talking about.
What I'm seeing here is Kung Fury.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so I was right.
2015.
Yep.
2015 English language Swedish martial arts comedy.
Roger Corman movie called Star Crash. Okay.
Oh, that's a good one. I mean, not a good one in a good way, but it's a good one.
Oh, yeah. Well, Micro, then get your hearing aid checked. I don't know, man.
La biscuma. But yeah, that's one I've seen a few times, and they have like a robot in there that kind of sounds like a Yosemite Sam.
Oh, okay.
David Hasselhoff's like the Prince of the Universe or something like that.
Yeah, yep. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have anything left. I could go back to ranting about man, it makes me angry, okay, Little Wolf? Like, this is one of my favorite series, and they come out, and it is crap. Like, it's not even just like, oh, this isn't my version of it, or whatever. It is actual crap. Anybody who wants to see it, I will show it for you on Discord. I can't do it on YouTube, copyright stuff and whatnot. But I don't suggest it for any fans. I really don't.
That's why I kind of compared it to what I know, and that's zombie movies. And then when they go to like number 4 and completely change around the rules, it's like you're no longer from that ilk. It's like you're something completely different. So just change your name.
I mean, so it's like that, but if also they got a different music composer that chose just weird music for it that didn't fit with the series or with that current iteration, they redid all the graphics so that they were just horrible. Right? Like okay, Return of the Living Dead doesn't use the best, practical effects or whatever, but I mean, like,
at least they tried.
But but let's say they switch to being, some other, I don't know. Yeah. To a point where they're not even trying. Like, let's see.
Or like even with George Romero's movies, when he went from doing practical gore to going into the whole CGI era, and you can definitely tell the difference.
Yeah, let me see. I'll see if I can't bring up a still from the series so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, because I'm sure if I bring up any of the actual show or whatever, it'll get flagged.
Yeah, it's weird what they'll flag nowadays. It's like, come on, there is something called fair use. If we're just showing a still of something and then commentating on it, it should fall under that. But then so many people have used that excuse to get other channels in trouble.
Cool. So that kind of shows up. All right. So you guys can now see my chat. That way I don't have to show my Google search or something. Yeah, so that, Wolf, and you can see it too.
Yeah, I see it.
That is a still from the show of the first season.
That looks like Final Fantasy, like
Spirits
cutscene.
Within. Like, yeah, and
I love that movie actually.
and that's not even the worst of it. Like there are scenes that look a little better, but there are definitely scenes where it looks worse. Like the beginning of the show starts out in a like I think it's California or something like that. Yeah, it's California. So it's like a bright area or whatever. Everything's blown out. The graphics look terrible. The lighting is terrible. The scenery is terrible. Now, take that and compare that to, this is the 95 movie. This isn't even the TV show that came out in the 2000s of, like, okay, it's hand-drawn, it's more expensive, but come on. And then we have that in comparison. I mean, I would expect a college student to do better. I'm sorry if I'm
The middle one looks like something from Animatrix almost, when they had that.
Animatrix took that style from Ghost in the Shell. Yeah, so that's from the 95 movie. And there are things that are not ripped off, but definitely influenced by, like, that the Matrix takes influence from Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
In a good way, right? Like I mean, you can watch Ghost in the Shell and see, like, influence from Blade Runner and previous sci-fi cyberpunk type novels and stuff like that. So I'm not saying that that's all bad, right? That it being derivative or whatever is in a bad way. There are times when it's bad, and 2045 has some of that, but there's times when it's really great too. Yeah, like Astro Boy. Astro Boy is great though. I know it falls into a really weird area though, because of its history.
I actually never watched Astro.
Did you know that Mega Man was going to be an Astro Boy game?
I think I heard that in one of the Metal Jesus videos.
Okay, yeah, I could see him bringing that up. Um,
Yeah, it's a channel I need to watch a few more videos on. That he's put out some that I haven't watched in a while.
here's another great one from the '95 movie. Look at that. I'm trying to look for some different ones, but to kind of show off some of the different characters. Oh, here's one of the scenes that I was trying to grab. But I get like all like the same like 3 pictures repeated. Look at how badly that beer bottle is animated. It like I could animate that, and I am not a 3D artist. Oh.
Shoot, I think my daughter could probably do better than that too.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Though they did, like I said, they did kick it up a notch. So they stayed with the same style for some reason. Well, I mean, they're kind of stuck with it, right? Unless you want to reanimate the first season, it would look really weird. So they stayed with the same style, but they upped the graphics. So if I can find a screen grab from season 2, I will show that here in a moment, because you can see a lot more fidelity, especially in their hair, especially like with Chief Aramaki. So he's the guy with the white hair back here. You can see his hair is kind of just like plastic and doesn't have a lot of detail. And then the new one, it's got a ton of detail. But I don't know if I'm going to find it. Oh. I love the animation though from the '95 one. And look, once again, just great. Oddly enough, I'm not just grabbing on the old ones only that I've seen. I've seen like one shot from Arise, and everything else that now I did look for 2045 in particular, but everything that is popping up is either the original movie or season 1 of 2045. I don't know why, but those are all the screenshots that I'm getting. Oh, here. This is look at that. Look at that. That's a daytime scene. Ugh. It's a little bit better with their night scenes, but
Looks like something out of like the Dead Island game.
I think Dead Island did better than that. I mean, I can kind of see where you're going with, but I mean, it's been a while since I played it, so maybe it's not, but here's another good one. Oh, that's a big image. We'll see if I can put it into Discord. Yeah. Ugh. That's one of the that's like the opening image that you get of the character. That's how they introduce the character.
It's like a weird war game shot or something from like one of their cutscenes.
Yeah. A lot of people said that it's got like video game graphics type stuff, and it does, but it feels like the models are very smooth, and so it has a high fidelity quality in that the smoothness of the models, but they're also very like lacking detail, and so it feels like somebody took like Code Lyoko, if you remember that show, or like the original Toy Story or something along those lines. Team Fortress style graphics, yeah, and just made it 4K. And you know, I'm looking. See, I was continuing going through this because I was looking to see if they had any from like season 2. To show like how, show where they like improve the graphics quality. I don't know though. I might, if I can get people to show up, I might have to do like a showing of it after watching the good Ghosts in Shells, and just have like where we riffed over it and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, if it was just the graphics, I would get over it and let it go. But like I said, it's everything about it. It is not as good. Oh, here we go. Here's the TV show. So this looks like it's from Second Gig, so the second series. Sorry, Little Wolf. So, I mean, all right, not quite that, but this is a movie, right? It's got a movie size production. This is, like 8 years later and with only a TV as production, but still really good. Yeah, I'm finding some season 2 stuff, but it's all stuff where you can't see any detail anyways. Here we go. Here's one of the antagonists from season 2. So you can see they finally figured out how to give some more detail to the hair and clothing and stuff. The clothing actually in season 2 looks pretty good, I think. This is a dark scene, so and he's wearing all black. He's very edgelord. But see if I can't find something else. That's the best I'm doing at the moment. Ugh. Oh, there's one of the major. Here's the major. So you can see they actually gave her splits in her hair now. It's better. More detail in the clothing. Still trying to do the anime style shading, but it's better. Music choice and plot didn't get any better in season 2, but you know, they did improve the animation. You know, I'll give them that. It is now bearable.
But I think I might need to jump off here soon. I'm starting to get tired for some reason.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. I might just end it and end the stream anyways, because talked pretty much about everything, and you know, don't have much else to go over. So, but yeah. As always, I suggest that people come by our Discord, show off movies and stuff like that. I'd be super down for showing off the original Ghost in the Shell, or as soon as I can get the rips of the TV series, which I should have in the next couple weeks. Showing that off as well. So, or other stuff. We're always showing something off. So, but yep. I can. Yeah. We can just end it here, I guess. Little Wolf. Thanks for showing up, and thanks for
no problem.
Those out in the chat showing up. Micro and Chris and John and Skooma and whoever else might still be out there. I don't know.
Bye.
This one was a little bit more laxed, but it was kind of random too. So, yep. Later, guys. I don't know. Should I do the outro? Look, guys,
Sure,
it's an
why not?
outro.